this is Ilina and welcome to another LDRS creative card video. In this video I will show you how to make a background using only one stamp. So you can use, I was going to use either the leaf or the lemon stamp, and I decided to go with the leaf. So what you want to do is first you want to measure the size of the image, and mine was 1¼ inches high and 3/4 of an inch wide. So what I'm doing now, I have a piece of white cardstock that measures 4¼ by 5½. It's size of a A2 card front, and I'm finding the center, the vertically and horizontally. So from that center, I'm measuring to the left and to the right 3/4 inches, 3/4 of an inch on top and bottom. I'm gonna connect the lines, and this will give me those vertical lines. Then I'll do the same horizontally, so I'll find the center. So for 5½ inches, the center will be at 2¾ So I'll mark the 2¾ on both sides and connect the lines, and then measure 1¼ inch left and right, and then another 1¼ until I am done with the grid. So here I'm marking the 2 3/4, and I'm using Pear ruler because it's easier. This way I could potentially mark the dimensions only on one side, and then using that T part of the ruler make parallel lines. So this once you're done, and another tip is to not press too hard with your pencil, just do faint lines. You'll be able to see them. So once you're done, you will have grid that has rectangles measuring 1¼ by 3/4 of an inch. So I'm finishing that grid here. I have on the ends a little bit left, about 1/4 inches on top and bottom. Also on the sides I have about 1/2 inch. So here I'm looking if the stamp fits, and it fits perfectly. So we're gonna stamp in the center of those rectangles, and then we're gonna stamp in the intersections. So we're gonna have offset leaves. So I'm starting from the center. So I'm gonna go rainbow order, and I decided to start from the center and then move up and then down. So I'm doing lantern yellow. Apologize here, you can see part of my head. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm stamping in the center of those rectangles, and then I'll do a little bit on the sides. This will get cut off on the end, but just in case, I wanted that continuous background. So next I'm going with Tangerine Dream, and here I'm stamping on the intersecting lines. So this one will give us more fuller background. You can do only in the squares, not the intersecting, but the leaves will have more space in between. So this one gives us more kind of color for background. Next I'm going with Kiss Me Red. I'm just repeating the process, filling those squares and stamping in the intersecting lines. Just repeating with each line of leaves with one color. So next was Fandango, and now I'm going with Boysenberry Blast. So for now I'm done with the top part, and we're going to move to the bottom. So now we are going down from the yellow. I'm using first, I'm using green, Prickly Pear Perfection. So I'm stamping in those intersecting lines. Next I'll go with Tropical Sea. Here I'm stamping with in the empty rectangles. Next I'll go with Dark Wash Denim. And I'll finish on with Miss Periwinkle. So you see how quick we will build this background only with one stamp. Now I decided I have a little bit empty spots on the top and bottom. So on the bottom I will stamp with Plum Crazy, just those little tips of the leaf, and then on top I will go with Grape Ape. So now our background is done. Make sure that you let it dry completely before you can go in with your eraser and erase those pencil marks. Erase your grid. So once you erase it, no one will know that you used the help of the grid to stamp this beautiful background. So next I'm using the thank you die, and I die cut it twice from black cardstock. I'm adhering the letters together to have a little bit more dimension of the sentiment. I'm using the negative to adhere that second letter, so it gives me a guide for spacing between the letters. You can use the negative to adhere all the letters, but I decided to just do for the second letter and then eyeball the rest. I'm using again my T ruler to make sure that they're adhered straight onto my background. So we have tank, and then we're just gonna do U. I'm starting usually from the center and then moving left and right to make sure that my sentiment is nice and centered. Now I'm gonna let it dry, and once it's dry, I'm gonna trim my background down to 4 by 5¼ inches. I'm creating top folded note card. I thought I was gonna go with black, but I changed my mind and went with white. Before I adhere to my background, I'm using some fun foam on the back. And here is my, I'm creating my top folding note card using white cardstock that measured 4¼ by 11 and I scored it at 5½. And as a finishing effect, I added some black enamel dots, and I'm adding some sparkle pen to my sentiment. With this, our cards, it's finished. Thanks so much for watching, and hope to see you soon in another video. Bye!